Good afternoon and welcome back to USTA Florida's Here to Serve podcast. My name is Laura Bowen and I'm the Executive Director here at USTA Florida. I don't know about you, but I don't go anywhere without my smartphone and my Apple Watch. They're just part of me and they make my life better and much more efficient. Have you ever wondered though why we don't use these devices to help us on a tennis court? Well, today's guest, George Opelka, is looking to change that. George has been part of the Florida Tennis Network for decades, and now he's partnered with SwingVision to help bring this technology to the tennis court. In today's episode, he'll share how we can use this technology as players to get better insights on our games and our matches. He's also going to share how coaches can use SwingVision to be better at analyzing their players, watching the matches, and providing guidance in a digital space. I hope you enjoy this episode, and for everyone in Florida, check out the links below to see how you can get SwingVision to use for yourself or at your club or park at a significant discount. I hope to see you and this technology on every court in Florida soon. Well, welcome to the Here to Serve podcast, George. It's so exciting for me to be able to have this conversation with you. And we've gotten to meet a few times, and I've truly enjoyed the time that we've been able to spend together. I've learned a lot about you, and I'd love our listeners to learn a little bit more about you and SwingVision and what it can bring to tennis. I just thought maybe we'd start by having you tell us a little bit about your background in both business and in tennis.
Great. Hey, it's great to be here. I'm very excited to talk about tennis, and obviously a huge passion of mine, and it's been great getting to know you over the last couple of months. So let's go. I've got I have somewhat of an interesting background. I was born in the Midwest. I was born and raised in Chicago. A large family, nine kids in our family. So plenty of fighting in my world growing up.
Are you the oldest, or what are you in the nine?
I'm actually seventh.
Okay, so you're closer to the youngest.
Yeah.
Got it.
And
did you get picked on a lot, George? I
think that some of the older brothers look out for the younger guys, but we had a great family life, and still keep in touch on a regular basis. So everybody's following Riley's tennis path. So it's been fun. I grew up in Chicago, not really a big tennis, for a big family. It's not really a big tennis sport. But I always grew up a huge tennis fan, particularly in the 80s. It was hard not to be a tennis fan, with everything going on in U.S. men's tennis back then, and the Borg-McEnroe era, the rivalry was fantastic. I just didn't play, I played basketball, and but anyway, my dad really is one that introduced me to technology at a pretty early age. My dad was you could say somewhat of a pioneer in the banking industry, but he loved the tech. He was also, I think what got him into technology was he was an electrician in the Navy. So I remember even growing up, my dad built an oscilloscope, and I always messed around with that thing, even though I didn't know what it did. But, I really came from, we were always seemed to be the first to have a lot of things, not everything, but when it came to technology, we had a Betamax, we had even a microwave back then. And so always seemed to get my hands on technology early in the game. Other than that, I was just raised a typical kid. I'm a proud Alabama alum.
So you went from north to south.
I did, and I know the
I can hear it in the background. Some of our audience saying "Roll Tide." We hear it in all our meetings. So you've just earned some fans, and you've probably lost some.
I definitely lost some fans, but people know that I'm a huge proponent of college tennis, and you'll find me pretty in the stands at pretty much almost every home game in Gainesville. So I've come to be a big fan of Florida tennis, and fans with I'm good friends with Brian Shelton over there, who built just a phenomenal program up over the last 12 years.
Some success, and now he's on the tour with Ben, which is wonderful to see.
Yeah, they're great, just great people, and also they've been great to the tennis community and continue to be so. But post college, after Alabama, I joined a mortgage tech startup that in St. Joseph, Michigan, actually. So, and eventually relocated to Florida in 2002, I think. But I spent 30 years with that company, and I learned so much there, Laura. It was, we used technology and analytics to, this will be boring, so we won't spend a lot of time on it, but we used technology to change how mortgage appraisals are manufactured. And we were a total disruptor in that space, using like things like back then that you couldn't get at a superstore, like digital cameras and the internet for delivery, compliance technology. But because back then people were doing mortgage appraisals with spit and paste, paper and pencils, but we changed that world. And across those 30 years, I just learned so much about leveraging technology and basically being fearless about taking calculated risks and chances to make the solution not only just cooler, but just better, lower risk, better for the consumer. So that experience for me, it continues to play a major role in my role, even in my life with SwingVision. But for the last 20 years, and some of this was concurrent, obviously, because I'm not 100 years old, but I have 30 years in the mortgage tech space, where we basically blew up that industry with technology, and we're doing the same thing in tennis. For the last 20 years, I've been a tennis ambassador, a tennis advisor, a tennis dad, strong proponent of junior team tennis. Riley was very active in Florida's junior team tennis program, and I love everything about junior team tennis. I mean, you see that game, that sport transition all the way up through the college ranks today, and the college tennis product is arguably the most exciting product we have in our sport. But I grew up in kind of that world right here in Daytona Beach, so I'm proud of that, and so many tremendous memories there. So not a pickleball hater, but I'm a strong proponent of.
I like it.
I'm definitely a tennis guy. But I've had some amazing mentors along the way, and really both mortgage tech. Mainly, my father was a tremendous influence on me. But in the tennis world, I've worked, side by side with my mentors include, I think, some of the greatest minds we have in tennis, and friends to this day. Tom Gullickson, who basically moved to Palm Coast maybe 35 years ago and made this his home for a long time. Brian Gottfried and Jay Berger, three amazing tennis minds that really helped shape my mindset and my approach to tennis. It's kind of my background. I live here in Palm Coast still. I moved here in 2002. I'm married. I have 2 kids. Obviously, most of the listeners, I would hope, know Riley. I have a daughter, Brenna, as well, and she plays tennis too.
I heard that. You told me that, and I'm very excited. We would get the whole family out to play one of these days.
No, I love that. When she comes down, she's in California, but she's probably playing 4 days a week, and she's involved in a league team. So,
Awesome.
So wife, 2 kids, and a Great Dane. Just because we like to do things big here, we're all well.
Well, it's funny. Since we didn't know each other until a few months ago, but so many parallels. One of the things I love talking to you about, I worked in the mortgage industry and was really involved in mortgage technology back in 2000, 2001. That's kind of how I started my career. And I've always been curious about the fact that technology really did disrupt the mortgage and real estate business. quite a lot during that, 2000 and on time frame. And then when I came to tennis, it was like, oh dear, we haven't had this disruption yet. It hasn't happened yet. It's still very analog. And I think there are some companies that are starting to do that. But SwingVision, when you and I first talked about it, it was sort of like this light bulb moment that this is the disruptive item that we've kind of been waiting for. This is the technology that tennis needs, whether it knows it or not. And so it's great that we've been able to spend a couple of months learning more about it and figuring out how we can, do more to make SwingVision part of Florida. So I'd like to know, how did you first get connected with SwingVision? So you talked about your path sort of to Florida, but how did you and SwingVision collide?
Yeah. So, going back maybe 10, 12 years ago, I met this guy at it's the Eddie Herr, which is, one of my favorite junior tournaments really in the world. But it's held here right in Florida. And this guy came up to me, it had to be maybe 12 years ago. This guy came up to me his name is Sam Duvall. And Sam was, I didn't know at the time, but he was an agent, and he represents, he's the founder of a company called Top Notch Management. And Top Notch, they rep several players on both the ATP and the WTA, including like John Isner, Riley, Caroline Garcia, but super bright mind. We become great friends over the last 10 years, and maybe because he's got an affinity for tech gadgets as well. He knows everybody in tennis. He was groomed by one of the greats, Donald Dell, one of the first agents in the sport of tennis, also known as Donald Deal. But great player, great agent, and really somebody that he's been on a few podcasts. It's great to hear his story. Just an amazing guy. But Sam knew, as I've gotten to know Sam over the last decade, he knew I was looking to transition full time to tennis. I had an amazing run in the mortgage industry, and I think we accomplished everything that I set out to do there. And but Sam asked me about if I'd ever heard about this new tech startup called SwingVision, and it's the Silicon Valley tennis tech startup that Andy Roddick and James Blake saw this product in action, and they both invested on the spot. And so I really hadn't had any sort of introduction to it, and Sam made that introduction to me and introduced me to the founder of the company. And I was immediately, after I had to walk through the product, I was immediately just blown away. And his story alone, and I'll give you the Reader's Digest version of Swapnil Sahai is his name. Born in the U.S. and Silicon Valley, company founder. Always was a huge lover of tennis. I mean, big passion for the sport. Always wanted to he always wanted to see his video and stats, just like you see on TV. That was his dream, his vision, and wasn't good enough to play in the tour. But he went the academic path and went to Cal Berkeley undergrad, then got his PhD in applied mathematics from Columbia. So, pretty solid pedigree there, and
Yeah, I think he knows what he's doing. I don't know.
And so he post college, he had an opportunity to go work for Elon Musk at Tesla, and Swapnil became an expert in what they call computer vision, and he worked as a senior architect on the autopilot team. So the focus there is like tracking, just like you would expect out of Tesla, tracking moving objects and people using cameras. And so that's really that exposure, that experience to computer vision is really what was the catalyst in what you see today as SwingVision. And then as iPhone technology, and cameras just evolved and got to be so darn good, and we all had them, Swapnil left Tesla and took those same Tesla principles of tracking moving objects and people to tennis using an app and an iPhone that you hang on the back of the tennis court, that's what became the makings and the foundation of what we know today as SwingVision. So super exciting story. And once people hear that, that Tesla, that Tesla affiliation and how that you can connect the dots pretty easy, tracking, moving objects and people. So that's
yeah, I was going to say that's what's so fascinating to me about tennis in some ways is that we used this technology in so many different ways in our life already. It's there, it's ubiquitous, but yet in tennis, we seem to not naturally think of, oh, this is what technology can do for us. And that's what's great about SwingVision is it takes the technology we're already using, is already there, and applies it in this wonderful way that we can use day in, day out. In tennis, it's not some dream over there. It's actually real, and you can do it on your own. I could do it right now in my office, which you did. And so that was kind of a nice way to see, hey, this technology already exists. It's not something that isn't already out there. But I think sometimes people just don't make that immediate connection in their brain that, oh, my car can drive itself. And they're like, oh, but it can track a tennis ball. Really? And it's kind of fun to watch that connection be made with people.
Yeah, everybody has a phone, so it's easy for them to understand and connect. And that's what really was appealing to me. It was just that the entry point is so low, and the cost was so low. And so I had several conversations with Swapnil, and I'm actually invested in the product, and I just believe in it so much. And tennis needs it. I mean, we need something to take us into where we need to be technology wise. How we grow this sport. Like you said, everybody else is using technology, whether it's baseball or golf or football. And we have some areas of some tremendous areas of opportunity where we can really change the sport.
I agree. Well, let's talk a little bit about how it works so that people here can hear how it works. And then we'll talk a little bit about how different people can use it. So can you give us sort of the short version of how the product works so people can get a picture?
Yeah, there's just so much it can do. And it is somewhat of a Rubik's Cube, and you can twist it and turn it so many different ways. But out of the box, once you download the app, it does require you have today it requires you have an Apple device, an iPhone. So eventually we'll get to Android. There's some things that Android's working on some things to make it where our app will work with on the Android platform. But today you need an iPhone. So once you have the app downloaded, all you have to do is select your session type. When I mean session type, it's either a match, it's a ball machine, it's a rally, or it's serve. It's super simple. So you really only have 4 options. So if once you do that, you tap start in the app, then you mount your phone to the back of the tennis court using what we call a swing stick, which is nothing more than like a telescopic pole or telescopic stick, much like you use to clean your pool here in Florida. But it's better than that. It's got luggage clamps on it. It's super easy to pop up. And then the phone holder just holds your phone, and there's a sunshade for it as well for Florida to protect the selfie side of the phone. And it hangs on the top of the fence at a pre-configured or preset angle, so you're going to be capturing the whole court. So there's none of this guesswork that you've seen in the past with GoPros, where you have to hang, hit start, pull it down, hope that you got it right.
Look at your phone, see what the angle is, go back up and adjust it. Oh yeah, we used to do that all the time when we were videotaping things. It was so frustrating.
Yeah, so the drill, and it's funny because you said videotaping. That's what we all, that's what everybody called it back then. So now we're into recording.
Yeah, because there's no tape in there, but you could tell how old I am now that I say videotape.
But that's it though. It's select your session type in the app and hit start, and then put the poll up there, and it goes right in the you can hang it from the outside or the inside of the court, depending if you're like a parent or a friend or a player. If you're a player, you just hang it on the inside of the court. But once you hang that, you hang it right in the middle of the court, almost even with the hash mark in the back, and then you'll have the right angle and the right placement to to capture your session. And then SwingVision uses, what it does is it uses artificial intelligence to process the video on the device in real time. So it's tracking, this is where it gets cool. It's tracking stroke type, spin type, and speed. So it knows if you're hitting a forehand or a backhand with top spin or slice and at what speed. So it aggregates all that data and creates all kinds of ability for you to filter your match or filter your session. It does so many different cool things with the data. You know, after the session, Laura, you can quickly and easily review like individual strokes on video to identify areas of improvement. This is where it gets really cool, like for coaches. You can view an entire match with the dead time automatically removed. So like a 3-hour match, you can watch it about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. So it cuts out going to the towel, it cuts out changeovers, all those things get ripped out automatically. And then you can share a condensed match, the condensed match or highlights with your coaches. So super easy to do. You can even cast it, which I love to do this. You can cast it to your TV at home. So you can screen share. So all of a sudden you're watching your match, your 20-minute match on a big screen TV.
My matches will be all 20 minutes because I don't win them. But I'll lose quick. What's cool about it is exactly what you said at the beginning. The vision was to have everyday people be able to see the stats the same way that we see when we watch the US Open or Miami Open. And that's exactly what it shows you on the screen. It's the exact same analysis of where did you hit the balls, right? The forehand side, the backhand side, how many shots you missed, like unforced errors. It shows you that same data that we all now have access to. So what you're seeing when you're watching the pro tournaments is actually what you can see, your coach can see, your captain can see, your teammates can see, your family can see, which is, really something that is amazing, I think, for the everyday player that we've never had access to before.
Exactly. And it can be as complicated or as simple as you want. So that's the beauty of the app. Depending upon who's driving it, who the user is, it can be great for social. It can be great for analytics. There's so many different things you can do. So
let's talk about coaches, because you started to talk a little bit about that, and I want to go a little deeper there. So I know a lot of coaches, really struggle, particularly now that tennis is so busy, to watch. They might be doing ladies clinics, but they can't get out to watch their teams play the matches because maybe the match times don't align with their schedule. Or if you are doing junior training and you've got 5 kids in that program and they're all going to different tournaments, like it's really hard and it's a huge time suck, right? To be out there for hours and travel and watch. How does this tool help a coach, one, add value to their teaching, but really two, be more efficient and effective with the use of their time when they're actually coaching people of all levels?
Yeah, you hit all the pain points and also all the opportunities, because tennis is in a great spot. From just rec tennis to professional tennis, I don't think we've been in a more exciting time. And even though you get guys like Djokovic, Federer and Nadal that are Murray are starting to be on the back end of their careers, and Serena and Venus, but I think we're really at an exciting time, and technology is definitely helping a lot of that. Even COVID got people, out back on the courts again. So the courts are so busy, coaches are so busy. Everybody's trying to figure out how do we just navigate this whole sea of opportunity where people can continue to get better. So what SwingVision does, you can use SwingVision in practices, you can use it in matches, you can use it just by yourself with ball machines. There's some really super fun things you can do with ball machines and SwingVision. Like we built goal zones we call them goal zones, or shot zones, whatever you want to call them, into our ball machine session, and as well as the serve session type. So you can go into the app and preset some areas you're going to work on. So if I want to work on cross court forehands and backhands, I can peg those 2 zones, hang up my stick, and it's going to ding when I hit give me just a nice star ding when I hit my zone. And it's going to give me a boo when I miss. Yeah. But the cool thing that it does is it also, rips out all the dead time and those things, but it also gives you heat maps of where your ball is landing on the court. So you can, in the app, you can tag your coach. So if I'm taking a lesson or I'm not taking a lesson, I'm out on my own today, I can go out and I can practice serves, or I can go out and do ball machine work, and I can tag my coach in the session. So what that means is when I get home, or even if I go into the clubhouse and I upload that match to the cloud, and I tagged my coach because he has an account, that session automatically shows up on his profile. So, or her profile. So if I'm the coach, and what doesn't matter, even if I had a practice match or we had a doubles league match and I recorded it and I tagged my coach, then my coach has access to that session.
That's amazing. So like Chuck Gill, who's helped me with my serve at times, if I went out and was like, okay, I'm going to practice serves and I'm hitting, he's told me, hey, work on your serve out wide, right? Okay, I'll tag that. And then when I'm done, I can send that, I can tag Chuck in that, and then he'll see how I did in my practice. And he could offer me some corrections on here, here's where it went wrong for you, and go back out there and maybe do these other things. Or the next time I take a lesson with him, he has information on what he might need to adjust or really focus on with me.
Exactly. Yeah, I can't stress I think one of the things we handle extremely well, I call it the match handoff. And that's by tagging your coach. There's some coaches that are really starting to figure this out, even for long distance. So I have a coach in Atlanta that has three clients on the other side of the world. And so I think they're in Israel, and they record their matches, they tag their coach. Coach gets their match and gives them feedback, via either whether it's Skype or whatever Teams, or just via email. So that match handoff, I can't tell you how important that is and how powerful that is. You don't have to send somebody instructions how to download it or get it. It just shows up with all the same stats that you see when you record the match. So, I mean, that's one way where it's beneficial to coaches. Also, even with league play, I think tennis, we're starting to figure out how to use these types of tools, because a coach can't go maybe watch 3 hours of league all the time. Go watch league matches, do the warm-ups, coach them during the tiebreakers. It's just not feasible just from just logistically or just from a business perspective. So SwingVision's people are starting to figure out how to leverage the remote aspect of SwingVision. But coaches also use it aside from the match handoff. They get access to heat maps from many of these sessions, so they can see your shot placement. They can see your court position. They can see your placement of your serves, so they can start giving you feedback based on, they can look at depth and placement on forehands versus backhand, say, for example, or see your contact point, how it varies from your forehand, your backhand. All those things are available to them through these heat maps and statistics. So they get access to your match stats, your point history, your shot stats. They can view winners, errors, serve win rates, break point conversions, all those kind of things are all broken down for them automatically.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing. We talked a little bit about, from the player's perspective, how it could improve my game by working with a coach. But what are some of the other ways, like, I could use SwingVision just as an individual? Say I don't have a coach. I'm busy. I'm a busy working professional. I don't have time to take lessons, but I am maybe playing on a league team or some other way, and I want to go out with the ball machine and I want to improve my game. How can this tool help me do that?
Yeah, I mean, it's, again, great. These are all great questions. So, if you think back, I think this is maybe 2 weeks ago. I don't know if you saw the Djokovic versus Alcaraz match. It just got so much hype, it was such a huge final. The next day, there was a clip on social media, and it was Andy Murray, and he said, I learned a lot from watching those two. You could almost, I think he said something to the effect like, you could almost see Alcaraz learning
as he played. Yeah, I did see that clip.
So and he offers some guidance, like look at your return positions on the court, look at your movement between shots. So I think how it can help you as a player is, watch yourself play. I get some people say, I don't see myself. Well, it depends on what your goals are. If what you want to get out of your tennis. If you want to just, if it's all about fun and social, then SwingVision can help you like favorite that tweener that you hit in your match, and you can post it on Instagram. We have direct integrations to social media right in the app, which is super cool.
Oh, I'm so glad that you mentioned that. We didn't cover that already. And I think that is a big thing so many of our tennis players, you look in their Facebook pages and their Instagram, and it's pictures of them playing tennis. Their profile pictures, them in the perfect trophy pose, like hitting their serve. And so I love that this is integrated because most of them can't take pictures of themselves while they're playing. So this is a great tool.
Yeah, when you go back and watch a match, there's a little star button on the viewer, and you can just favorite your favorite points. And then we have direct integrations into social media. So it's super easy to post those those one highlight shots to social media, or even share it with your kids, your grandkids, your significant other, whatever. They just happen. So it makes the app more than just this big analytical tool. It's super fun to use too. So depending upon what your goals are, you can use it for that. I recorded I think it was some kind of charity event at Hammock Beach last year, and Brenda Schultz McCarthy was a celeb there that day. And she, at 51 years old, she hit a tweener winner down the line. So that thing is all over social media. That was a SwingVision shot of the year last year. So, and it couldn't happen to a nicer lady. So that's one aspect. But if you want to get better and learn, I would say take Andy Murray's advice and just watch. And I think that really helps you accelerate your IQ, your tennis IQ. I was at, if you go out the ball machine and you just, again, you can set up those zones and practice hitting your zones. It'll give you a report. So you don't have to have a coach necessarily. I'm not saying don't use the Chuck Gills of the world, because we've got some of the best teaching pros around in Florida.
Shout out to all of the coaches in Florida. You all are the best in the business, and we're lucky to have them.
Unbelievable. I mean, I don't need to, those guys know how I feel about them and gals. So, but if you can't use your coach all the time. They're busy. So go out the ball machine and pick one of those practice sessions, whether it's ball machine or serve practice, and you'll get some great feedback just watching yourself learn, watching, like Murray said, watch your court position. But the heat maps are fantastic. I was at the Omni last year up in Amelia Island, and there was a 72-year-old retired hand surgeon there, and he was charting his matches literally with a piece of paper when I walked out on the court. And I hooked up SwingVision, and he was just hooked on the spot when I showed him, the output. So you can definitely use the tool just to get better. I really think that I try to teach, especially the young juniors and working with kids and working at, academies, is I really try to get people in the rhythm of recording one practice match a week. Watch it, share with your coach, and you will see that accelerates your tennis IQ. If you watch yourself play 25 to 50 times a year, you cannot help get better, and basically go from court to classroom on your own and watch yourself play. And this does work. You can use the app for both singles and doubles and get stats on every player on the court.
And I know we didn't touch on that earlier, but I think that's another piece, sort of the strategic coaching of double strategy, right? Which I know almost every coach that does ladies clinics does, double strategy. But juniors also need to learn it if they're going to play in college. And that's something that over time we've learned that needs to get better in our junior ecosystem, as a lot of them continue to play singles, don't play doubles as frequently. So the double strategy component, how you're playing doubles, where are you on the court, all of that. I think this tool goes beyond just the individual shots. It's that strategic component of the match that could really help both our juniors and adults who need to get more experience and get better playing doubles.
For sure. I mean, again, another shout out to our coaches, and I know Chuck Gill very well, and I'd say that the one thing that coaches do an amazing job of, and as well as the students, whether you're a junior or you're an adult player or collegiate player, they do a great job teaching you the hows. I can go out and look at a junior player, and they know how to hit a tennis ball. And I think by watching video and using a tool like SwingVision, coaches can better communicate the whys and 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 why things happen and why you won a point or why you lost a point. So when you can connect the how and the why, then you really have something special, and you can learn more about how to leverage, strategy in a match. And I think that's really some of the exciting things that you see with a product like SwingVision, and why I'm so geeked about what we're doing in tennis. The plan is to just blow tennis up around the world with this app. So,
Well,
and we have thousands of users all over the world today. So
I am sold, and I'm here for it, because I do think there's a lot that we can do better, and innovation and tech are probably top of that list. So that gets me to my next question. How can we, the USTA Florida, adopt and use this technology in all the possible ways to make sure that our players, our coaches, and everybody in the Florida ecosystem has the best technology and tools available? Because we want to stay the best. So what can we do to make that happen?
Well, yeah, I'd say already just having me here it's been great, just to help get the word out, because that's really the key. Is being a tremendous ambassador for tennis and an ambassador for SwingVision is really a step in the right direction. And some of the things that you and I have talked about, and some of the things that just in sharing our roadmap with you on where we're taking this product, I think some of the areas of opportunity that we're working on that are super exciting. One of the ones really that's near and dear to my heart, because I go to a lot of I watch a lot of tennis. Let me put it that way. Between juniors, collegiate, pros, I'm either there or I'm streaming. And one of the key areas I think where people are really asking for help, and where I think technology can grow the game, is to have what we call electronic line calling. Bring that to bear, and AI allows us to do that. So we're doing some really cool things, and being able to use Florida, just a fantastic section. And I'm here, I live here, and we've got a great partnership with USTA. Bringing some of this line calling and line challenge technology to a test bed in Florida is a great way for us to move the game ahead. We've had some conversations about that, and I'm super excited about that. I don't like to use the word cheating. I know it's a reality, but I like to speak to this as poor vision more than anything, because
yes, there's some poor vision out there. I love that. That's going to be my response whenever I'm at an event and somebody's like, "Oh, that was a bad call." I'm like, there's just some bad vision happening on this court right now.
It's a safe play. And, in fairness to, because I hear it all the time, especially in junior tennis and college tennis, in all fairness to the players, when somebody's nuking a forehand at 85, 95 miles an hour, how can you expect them to make the play and make the call? And if you're younger, it's just tough. It's a lot of pressure. So anyway, we've been working very closely with USTA, with ITA, with just junior tennis in general, in bringing this line calling and line challenge technology to bear. So we're making great headway there. When you think about some of the lower tiers, below the pros, they can't afford to have, some of this super expensive line calling technology integrated into their system. You're talking about thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars a quart. So what we can do with AI and an iPhone or an iPad is amazing. So that's one area I think we can just work together with on our partnership, getting the word out, having us at events, which you're doing, pegging some events where we can come out and do some just socializing and talking to at tournaments, and recording matches to tournaments, and coming out to clubs. Any kind of support there is super helpful. So embedding our highlights from some of your events on your websites and posting those on social media.
I can't wait for that. I know we have some coming up and some that are in the works that maybe aren't totally final yet, but I do know that at our JT2 sectional championships in December, you all will be at that event, and I'm very excited. I also know that we will be working with you to have SwingVision at all of the 4 facilities, the public facilities that we manage. So that means the players and our coaches will actually be able to use it in real time at all 4 of our public tennis centers. And I know we have more events and more partnerships and facilities that will be using it in the years ahead. So we couldn't be more excited to get it out there. And I know you're always so receptive and accessible to anybody who calls you and says, "Hey, I want to learn more about it," or "I'd like to integrate it." So I hope our audience will take advantage of the fact that you do live in Florida and you're such a great advocate for us and supporter of us. So, much, much more to come. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned those events because one of the other things that we didn't touch on today, it's something we rolled out in January and it's starting to take off for us, especially with college tennis. We have over 100 college programs using SwingVision now, and that's really and big schools, little schools, because it's such an affordable app. But one of the new features that we rolled out in January that we're super excited about is live stream. So not only can you record videos and get all these great stats, but for some marquee events, whether it's at your club or it's one of the more, flagship or hallmark events for USTA Florida, we now have the ability to live stream those events, which is super exciting.
It's very exciting to have people be able to watch from afar, particularly on, you mentioned junior team tennis and Riley playing, and I love that event. It's my favorite event that we do. I try to volunteer for it if I don't have a conflict. And it's just, you see these kids come and they come with their coaches, and a lot of times the parents can't come. And so if they could actually watch their kids play in these junior team tennis events, I think that would be an amazing thing to offer. But college too, I played sports in college, and my parents weren't able to see me participating. They might come to a game or two, but really this would have been great back in 25 years ago to have.
If in college tennis, it's almost a prerequisite now for recruiting. So you have to have live stream, and live stream with SwingVision also means live score. So that's super cool. So we've got a component in there where you can actually add, point by point live scoring in there. So you're not just watching somebody and trying to guess what the score is. There's a live scoreboard in there that'll tell you that it's 15-all or 15-30. So we're super excited about that. And the quality of the video it's what you see and what you would get and what you would expect from an Apple device. So super high res, frames per second it's super high quality. So I think people are surprised at how great that looks. So, but you don't have to go any further than your own iPhone to get a sense of what that looks like.
That's amazing. Last question for you today. How people listening to this podcast get SwingVision, and are there any special offers available for our Florida people?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I probably should have hit on price earlier in case we had anybody that had to, leave early. But so everything that you need to know about SwingVision can be found, first of all, on our website. And our website is swing.tennis, not .com, it's swing.tennis. So that'll give you everything you need to know just about the products, some sample videos, how-tos. So when all else fails, just go to swing.tennis. Then you can also download the app from the App Store. That's another way to just get the app on your phone. And there's a free version out there where you get a couple hours a month that allows you to kind of taste the product, but you still need a stick anyway. So and we manufactured our own stick, which is first summer we just released that. Our stick is great in that it goes up 2 feet higher on the fence and it has a sunshade built onto it. So that's great for Florida. Those typically the SwingVision app, it retails at $149 a year for the app. Those sticks are a one-time investment of they usually retail about $109. So we always have a bundle going on where you can get them both. So if you're a new user, you can usually get both of those for, depending upon the day, or the special, but it's called $169 for that initial purchase. So it gives you the stick in your 1-year purchase. So we'll have a discount that's available to USTA Florida that that'll be, I assume that'll be posted on all.
Yeah, we'll drop the links and a discount code here for all of our listeners. So if they didn't make it to the end of the podcast, that's okay. We'll put it on the podcast page and our socials too.
And your price is gonna be lower than that. So
Awesome.
Florida members get a better discount than that. So and I think the trial, there's also the trial period is, I think it's 45 days. But anyway, you really need the stick. So get the bundle. Don't just download the app. Unless your club has mounts already, then you'll need the stick. It's also good to have your own stick. If you're only paying $10 or $20 more for the stick, just get it.
Yeah, agree. I think the bundle's the way to go, and we'll have a great price for our members. So highly recommend the bundle. I know we have a stick here that we use for many of our devices, but we'd still get the stick from you, George. The sunshade is kind of genius. Didn't think of that, but certainly here in Florida, protecting your phone screen from the hot 100+ degree weather that we have here is very, very helpful.
Yeah, and it fits in your tennis bag. That's the other thing to note. Is this thing, it's a telescopic pole, so it's very compact and it'll fit in your tennis bag.
George, thank you so much for sharing all of the information with us today. For those listening to the podcast, we will certainly post more information, and you'll be hearing a lot more about SwingVision throughout the next year or two as we work on more engagements with George, and you'll probably see them out at many of our events. But of course, if you would like more information, reach out to George or to our team at any time. So thank you, George, for your time today. I really appreciate you and all the innovation that you're bringing to tennis. We're so blessed to have you.
Oh, thanks for having me. It was great. It was an honor to be here today. So look us up. Look me up.
That's all for this edition of USTA Florida's Here to Serve podcast. For more episodes of the podcast, including upcoming topics, guests, and dates, please visit USTAFlorida.com/here to serve. Thank you for tuning in and have a wonderful day.